Welcome back, and in this video we're continuing a remake of the ZX Spectrum classic Jetpack. So since the last video, I'm just going to recap. So what we have is we have the ability to pick up the spaceship parts. It's a bit floaty, very floaty. So you can pick up the spaceship parts, drop them off. And once we drop them off, then we get the ability to add fuel, but as soon as we touch the fuel, it actually disappears and we can't pick it up. So you can see the fuel is there on the left hand side, but as soon as we touch it, it disappears. Now what we want to do is we want to pick it up the same way as we pick up the rocket parts. So where are we? Pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up, pick up. So that is going to be in locomotion. Okay, so if the part is rocket part, then we want to do that. Else, if collision tag equals fuel, I think it is, we want to pick up the fuel. Let me just make sure that's right though. So we go to prefabs and we go to fuel, and let's open this prefab here. So the tag is fuel. Okay, so if the tag is fuel, then we want to pick that up. Now, we kind of want to do the same thing as this, but I'm just going to create a new function for it. Collision.gameObject. So down here, I'm going to have private void pick up fuel. Fuel. So we want to do fuel.transform.setParent, and it's got to be set to the player. So we do fuel.transform.localPosition equals vector 3.0, and rocket part, that'll be fuel.getComponent box collider 2D enabled equals false. So we want to turn that off there. And then we want to have a current fuel cell. So we want to say private game object current fuel cell. And then we set that to, fuel cell equals fuel. And we can't pick up another fuel cell, can we? Until we've dropped it. So we want to say if current fuel cell not equal to null, return. So we just want it early out if we can't pick it up. So now we should be able to pick up fuel cells. This is my favorite part of video game development, is debugging, testing stuff. Oh no. I need to fix the gravity on that. It needs to shoot up a little bit quicker, and it needs to fall just a little bit quicker. So yeah, we need to figure that one out. And also these things don't land the way that they should. But again, there was an issue with that we detected last time, which was the collision was a bit off. Okay, so here's the fuel, and that did not work. Okay, why did that not work? Drop zone, fuel. My guess is there's a pickup. Oh, here we go. Pick up true, drop manager, pick up object, this. Oh, wait a minute, wait. What is this? Drop manager, pick up object, this. Oh, okay. So what I want to say is, I don't want this to be a pickup, to be honest. What do we have for here? I think what we want to have is we want to have a public bool is fuel. Tooltip, set this to true if the item is a fuel pod. And not fuel. So if it is fuel, I don't want it to be picked up because I want to handle it elsewhere. But I also want this to be able to control the fall. Okay. Or do I? Is this dropped items, remove, pick up, destroy, pick up. Okay. So actually the drop manager, and I want to put that in there. Maybe I do. Yeah, maybe I do. But I need to know that you're carrying fuel. So if I go to locomotion, okay, so this is current fuel cell. So if drop zone is there and current part is there, current parts, drop zone. See, I need to rocket manager, instance drop part. Okay, so there's this rocket manager. So I need to do the drop manager as well. So that's got to have a drop manager on there. So I think what I need to do is I need to not do it if the pickup is a fuel cell. So we can remove that from the pickup. Okay. So we can remove it from the picked up items. No, because we can't, because you can't carry two at the same time. But that's okay because we can't carry two at the same time because of the other one, because it says you can't carry two at the same time. So removing that's fine, you just can't pick up the other cell. So even if you do have the other cell, it won't pick up. All right, okay, I think that works. So what I can see is var pickup equals var pickup dot get components pickup if p dot is fuel. If it's not fuel, destroy it. Otherwise, you want to pick it up. Okay. And then inside our locomotion, fuel cell is that. And let's take that off there and say if current part is not equal to null, do all that. Because we're going to also have, because the drop zone, you're going to drop the fuel on there. So we need to have that for that eventuality. So we're going to set that there, and then current part transform, current part null. So we have private void drop item, game object, and then we're going to have this one here. Take that out and say drop item current part, and this is going to be go, go, go. Okay. Current part, next ID. Okay, so that's if we have if this is the rocket. If this is a rocket, then we're doing that. Else if current fuel cell is not equal to null, drop item current fuel cell. So we're going to set the parent to be null. We're going to set the position to be that drop zone part, and then we're going to do drop manager dot instance dot drop fuel current fuel cell. Now we don't have an instance here, so I'm going to go back into drop manager and I'm going to add my little singleton. Private static drop manager instance, and then we're going to have public static drop manager instance get if instance equals null, instance equals get game object dot find object of type drop manager instance. Okay, so that is our instance there. So when we go to our locomotion, you'll see that we don't have this method now. So if we go back to our drop manager and we have public void drop fuel game object fuel pod, that should then stop that from flashing there. Okay. All right. Now we need to keep how many fuel items there are. So let's say private int fuel count. So we don't have any fuel yet. So I'm going to drop item, pick up fuel. So it needs to go down to here-ish. Oops. Oh, I think this value is not right. Okay. So pick up fuel, pick up rocket part, drop item. Okay. And drop item, drop fuel. Then we go to the drop manager, and then that's dropping the fuel. So we need to do we need to calculate where the baseline is for this. So the bottom rocket, where's the bottom rocket? Drop width is 224, okay. Rocket part. Where do we drop the rocket to? Rocket manager, here we go. So drop part, drop the part. So really we want to copy this thing here. So end y is going to be, oh, okay, let's just copy this. And then have to rewrite it again. Start coroutine, drop fuel pod. Private enumerator drop pod fuel pod. Oops. Okay. So end y is going to be minus 64. That really doesn't sound right. Well, I guess it is because it's going to be half. That's 0 there, so it's going to be 64 there. Okay, let's make it 0. So let's say the end y is going to be fuel count. Where is it? Oh, I don't know the fuel count. Oh, that needs to be in drop manager. Where did I put that? In locomotion. Fuel count. Okay. So inside drop manager, tidy this up. Looks a bit messy. So the fuel is going to be, where's that here? Is going to be fuel minus 64 F plus fuel count times 16 F. And then just to be sure, make sure it's got that. And that's going to be that. Fuel pod there. Fuel pod there. Fuel pod there. Fuel count plus plus. Okay, so it's not going to be minus 64. It's probably going to be minus, so 16 on top of that. So it's going to be minus 80. Would be my guess. And that should put the fuel down there. Now, what's interesting about this though is we've actually got to delete the fuel once it gets to that point, because we have to color the shuttle. So that'll be interesting as well. Also, these gems and things shouldn't fall until you've picked up all your rocket parts, I think, from Remember the Game. So we need to change that as well. So that one's there. So when we pick up our first fuel, which, oh, there we go, we just picked up our first fuel and it disappeared. Oh, darn it, because we never changed that. Okay, so fuel, we've got to mark that as being fuel. Well, that's a rookie mistake, so now we've got to do this again. Okay. I might have fast forwarded through this, so if I have, then you're probably not going to see me picking up the fuel. But there we go. And this one here. Okay. It's good. And boom. Oh, there's the fuel there. So hopefully this will pick up the fuel. Bink. And it's not picking up the fuel. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Did I trigger something else? Simulated, box collider. Are these not triggers? Wait. Wait, why doesn't gem? Oh, it does. Wait, what? Oh, right, because it's not a trigger. It's not a trigger. It's a collider. Okay, so if I go to locomotion, on trigger enter. That's not the one. So I need to change that to on collision. So that's going to be public void on collision. collision enter 2D. And we're going to say collision dot game object dot tag equals fuel. So if it is fuel, then we're going to pick up the fuel. Okay. And grab that one there. Excuse me. Oh, there's the fuel there. So boom, there we go. There's the fuel. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Okay. I think we need to cheat here somehow. Enter a cheat mode or something to get the fuel there. Okay, so why did that happen? So when it enters there, pick up the fuel. Pick up fuel. It's not equal to null return. Set the parent transform to be there. Set local position to be there. Do I need to turn? Let me try something. Let me do fuel dot component rigid body 2D enabled set active. Is awake. Dot simulated let me change it to kinematic. Alright, let's run through that again. I think what's happening is it's kicking it off and then it's causing problems when it gets picked up. I think that's the problem. Okay, on there. Come on. All those radioactive ones. I should just make it all fuel. Because I'm getting no fuel just now. That's not good. Where's all the fuel? Every fourth one should be fuel. Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. Whoa, okay. Well, that's not good. So fuel's there. Nope, that is not working for me. Okay, I think so. For the rocket part, I have that as is trigger because it's static and it doesn't move. The problem is that these things fall and they need to have colliders on them, and that's what's causing the problem there. The other thing is the drop manager. That needs to go to, it's like 8 pixels down. That has to go to -88, I think. It's okay. Transform start. Okay, let me look something up. Okay, I think what I have to do is I have to. I'm just trying to think about this logically. I think what I need to do is I need to have two colliders on it. I think I need two objects. One that interacts with the physics, and then one that interacts with the trigger space. So sorry, let me just back that up a bit. I want the player to interact with the object as if it's a trigger, but I also want the object to collide with things. So I think I need to do some setup, and I think the thing that I need to set up is I need to have the platforms not take part in touching these. These have to be triggers, I think. So if I make all of these triggers, is trigger, is trigger, is trigger, is trigger. And then this is trigger here as well. And then I take the rigid body off of here, and then I put it on a child object. So if I add create empty, and then just create this as a physics object, and then take off the rigid body 2D here, remove component, and then add it back to here, rigid body 2D, and then have this as a collider. Add a collider here, collider, box collider 2D. So if I go to here, box collider 2D needs to be a little bit bigger, obviously, because it needs to be 16. So let me make that 16, and then 8. Yeah, that doesn't really matter, to be honest, as long as it hits that there. So that would be -4. So that's the physics object, but I don't want that to interact with the player. Like I don't want the player to run into this, but I do want it to be. I do want the background layer to interact with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer here, and this layer is going to be called invisible to player, just because that's really what it has to be. And I'm going to change that to invisible to player. So it's going to interact with the background because that's how I'm going to set it up. But if I go to project settings and then physics 2D, and then down here we've got this thing here, and then invisible to player, I need to have the player on I need to have the player on a different layer as well. So if I go to Jetman and then add layer and then call this player layer. So we'll call that player layer, and we'll add player layer there. Yes, change children. and then going back to the fuel. Oops, no, I need to go back to here, and then I go to project settings, scroll down here again. You'll see that player layer can now interact with invisible to player. So I don't want the player to know anything about that layer there. So I'm going to change all of these to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to go grab gem. I'm going to remove this component, the rigid box. So I still have the box collider 2D, which the player knows about because it's in the default layer. But I'm going to add an empty object here. So I'm going to do this for all of them, and I'll speed this up. Sorry, just before I say that, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did before, which is I'm going to add this object here. I'm going to add the rigid body and the collider, which is not going to interact with the player, but it will allow the object to drop through the air. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think that's everything done now. So that should mean that it works with the layers, with the platforms, but not against the player. Well, that didn't work. Let's see if the player knocks into it or no. Player doesn't even see it. Rigid body 2D, locomotion, capsule collider. Oh. Let me copy component. Capsule collider 2D. Base component values. Okay. Is there a reason why I didn't put that there? Remove component. Probably. There probably was a very good reason for putting the player there. Okay. So hopefully you should be able to pick them up now though. Nope. Well, completely broke the game now. Good job, everyone. So can I pick up anything? Okay, I can still pick up things. That's good. Okay, so these aren't working. I've got a funny feeling I need to have it on the root object. Let me do drop. Where's the drop manager again? Drop object. Drop. I wonder if the other object is like the. So if I go to here. There's radioactive. No, that's still. It's at minus 62. You'd think that would be at the same. I think that would be the same place. Make that 0. Uh, hmm. Okay, I'm going to reverse them, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm just going to move the physics objects back and make those ones not interact with the player. It's the exact same thing, but it'll be in reverse. Okay, that was fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I did there. So on the prefab for each of these objects, what I did was it's still tagged as prefab pickup here, but the top level object is invisible to the player. So in other words, the top level object is the one that controls the physics and pulls all the children down using gravity. It's invisible to the player. So the box collider here doesn't have a trigger on it, but it will interact with the solid portions of the game. So all the platforms and the ground, it will interact with it. The one that's labeled here physics, which is a bit confusing because it doesn't actually contain the physics. It has a tag pickup here, but the layer is the default, which means that the player can interact with it, and the player interacts with it as a trigger. So everything works. The only thing I've noticed is I had the pickup do the on collision part here, and what I think I need to do is I need to twist that around. So instead of having this here, I'm going to change that to else if collision dot tag equals part. Oh no, pickup, sorry. I need to manage dot instance pickup object. What is this? Pickup object. Oh yeah, it's got to be the pickup. Okay, so I need to get the root object from here. So I want to say var root equals collision dot game object dot transform dot root dot game object, and then I want to say var pickup equals root dot get component pickup, because the pickup is actually on there. I mean, I could probably put it onto the other one, but that's fine. Pickup dot picked up equals true, and of course that's not going to work because that's not private. So we don't need any of this in here now, and we probably don't need the drop manager either, so we can get rid of that. And inside drop manager, there's going to be something in here, so we don't need that. Right, let's just get rid of that. And then in locomotion, tidy this up. So that should pick up our objects now. Okay, so let's pick up the objects. And I don't know why I'm going for that one. We really should be picking these ones up. No, still not picking it up. But oh no, hold on. Okay, so pick up object. Oh, wait. I have to get that one there. Okay. So this is me going to the topmost part of this object hierarchy, which is going to be, let me just show you what it's going to be if I go to the project. So the topmost part of it is going to be fuel, which contains this pickup script. And that's the thing that the drop manager needs to interact with. So when I run this now, I should be able to pick up this diamond, for example. Boom, there we go. Okay, and the same thing over here. Perfect. Okay, so now we just need to figure out if the fuel is going to work now. Although I've got a funny feeling that might actually cause problems because I'm going to be turning off the rigid body, but it thinks it's going to be I'm picking up the wrong object. So that might be a problem. Now, why is it not dropping fuel? That's an even bigger problem. Okay. Yeah, I need to fix that algorithm as well. So there we go. There's our fuel. So it's not picking that up, and that's kind of understandable. Okay. So on trigger enter there. So it's not picking up because it doesn't recognize it as a collision. So what I need to do is else if that, rid of that, because it's no longer a collision, it's a trigger. And it's the same thing here with the root game object as well. So I'm going to pass in root, and that should be everything inside there. So again, the fuel, we need to pass in the root game object, otherwise it's going to throw a complete wobbly. Okay. I'm glad, you know what, I'm glad I've persevered with this game because it really, I know it's probably everybody's just screaming at the screen when they're watching me doing this, but sometimes the physics in Unity, it's either I'm not understanding it or it's just not clear in the scripting documentation. But hey, there we go. There's the fuel. Okay, so now we got the fuel. We can then drop the fuel over here, and it's not particularly great, but okay, we're dropping the fuel. That's okay. Because we need to delete the fuel after that. That's fine. Okay. That's good. So now we get this fuel here. Oh, because we've dropped it, we need to be able to pick up another one. Okay. So once we've got to the drop zone, we need to say current fuel cell equals null, because that will allow us to pick up another fuel cell afterwards. And then we drop that fuel cell. All right. Okay. Starting to get there. Starting to get there. And then the next thing, the next big thing. Actually, I'm gonna spend a bit of time trying to debug this that drop thing, because the drop thing's not doing the right thing. Actually, yeah, okay. Let's leave it for just now. So this one here, the rocket part. I need to color this somehow, and I'm wondering if I can do it with a I wonder if I can do it with a shader. I wonder if I want to do it with a shader. That's the thing. Maybe I do. All right, let me think about it. Let's end this video just now because I think we've spent quite a bit of time on this. But yeah, let's end it just now. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it the old thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it the old thumbs down. Leave a comment below as well. All of these things help rise us up in the YouTube algos, and I really appreciate it because it really drives the channel forward a little bit.
And as always, if you did enjoy this, you got this far, and you want timely reminders of when I put new videos up, then don't forget to hit the old subscribe button and notification bell, and YouTube will work its algorithms and give unto you these videos, whatever, or not. It's up to you. It's a free country. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.